not successful at it 100% of the time.
Right.
But I do know that that helps to understand that I'm only being impatient because I expect something or someone to be as I am.
All right, expect is your operative word here, or I
Absolutely.
should say your operative expletive. Because if I put my expectation on you, then I'm binding you to my circumstance, which is why I said to you what I said in the first place, that all somebody else is doing is placing their judgment upon you. Why is it someone likes you one day and not the next? That's actually not all that difficult. All they did was change their judgment of you into another framework, and now they don't like you. You know, if we could learn to get by that simple thing, you know, in MySpace, I put out a blog on judgment out there. And you know what? I'm not sure anybody read it because there's no kudos, there's no comments, there's no nothing to it. But on MySpace, there's a wonderful multi-page idea of what judgment does, how it operates, what it does to you, even health-wise. And I find that comical. They would rather read all this other stuff than understand their own true divine nature. And you know what? I'm okay with that. People are going to be people no matter where they are, no matter what they do. And that, my friend, is a suggestion to say, hey, let people be people, Chad. Just allow them to be who they are. What
does judgment do to our own powers of observation? Our own powers of intuition.
It blocks it absolutely 100%.
Cancels it out. That's what
absolutely. And I'm going to tell you something. When somebody does an intuitive session with me, the majority of people that have done them with me would tell you one thing you can count on: the guy's not going to judge you. I mean, you know, I'm obviously a male. You can tell by the semi-testosterone-laden voice, meaning it's deeper. I've had many conversations with females on subjects that most men fantasize about having conversations with them about. Sure. And you know what? They've gotten the understanding that they were looking for because I didn't sit in my chair and say, you're not living up to my expectation. You're not living up, you don't have to live up to my judgment. Here's the truth. One of the things that I believe any human can do when they're doing an intuitive session is deliver divine truth.
Deliver divine truth.
Absolutely.
I like that.
Well, that's what Edgare Cacye was about, which is where we started the show this evening. He only offered divine truth. When you're only interested in the divine nature of the person you're reading for, all you can give him is the divine truth. And I'll tell everybody something else. There's no limit to what you can see about them. No limit. I've had people sitting across the desk or even on the phone say to me, my God, it's like you're reading my mind. Well, hello, I am. In fact, you made a comment earlier that I answered a question before you ever asked it.
Yeah, or going into the next point that I wanted to make based on something you just said. I see that. And even I've had listeners in the chat room say the same thing about both of us, that, wow, that's exactly what I wanted to ask or exactly what I was about to say. You know, we do have another caller on the line. This call from the 310 area code. You are on live with Stephen Hairfield and Chad Lilly. This is Aware Talk Radio, and where are you calling us from? Caller from the 310 area code. Are you with us? No, we might have lost someone.
It must be a carpet salesman. Oh, well. No, not really. If he can, call us back. Anyway, what are we going to do?
We'll see if they come back. We'll see if they are able to be brought on. You know, we've had a lot of blog talk difficulties even for this show, so maybe it's the switchboard as well. But I tell you, I'm just to the point now where I'm really seeing that, maybe even for the first time, that my own limitations are blocking my natural abilities. And I think that'd be true for all of us, especially when we talk about intuition, because this is something that's beaten out of us. I mean, Sonny and I are both reading and learning from these books about children, and apparently most children do experience just sections of intuition where they're completely aware, and like you said, about that 6, 7 year mark, it seems to be almost 90% beat out of them. I mean, we're to the point where we're just completely logical, we function on that side of the brain, and we disregard We disregard all those crazy things that we see when we close our eyes. And how can we avoid that? How could we have a generation of children growing up using and developing their own intuition and not having it beat out of them unless their parents are aware of it in the beginning?
Well, actually, the interesting thing to that, Chad, is more and more parents are becoming aware of that.
Yes.
Not enough. Anything out of the ordinary, so to speak, whatever that turns out to be, and I have no clue, parents are going to tend to want to diminish it because it terrifies them. Their child could be autistic. They could be ADD, ADHD. They could be this. They could be that.
They could be the next Edgare Cacye.
They could be the next Gandhi. They could be the next Jesus Christ. They could be the next Buddha, but we beat it out of them before we ever give them the opportunity to get there. And pardon, ladies and gentlemen, my excitement, because we all too often do that in our societies today. We take it away from them. We rob the true creative power of the children because they seem to be acting differently. Well, that's okay, but you know, the thing that I find, Chad, what can we do that's different? Parents, you got kids, let them be children. One of the things I can tell you that I absolutely adore about going to India, and here's my plug, I love taking people to India so they can experience this, so that they can see it. They actually allow, are you ready for this, Chad? They allow their children to be children.
What?
Yes.
No, here the playgrounds have to be made out of plastic. There's no rough house. Kids are not allowed to be kids. We've got to stop all that.
And are you ready for this?
Good little robot.
I heard on the news today that in the state of Virginia that the elementary school children can no longer, are you ready for this, are able to play tag.
Oh, that's dangerous. Are you kidding? Someone could get injured.
Oh, hey, it was more about boys touching girls and girls touching boys where they probably shouldn't. The teachers observed one of the children happened to touch one of the girls on the butt and said, tag, you're it, and it's probably because that was the only part of the body they could reach. In India, they allow children to be children until they start getting into, and it's interesting to me because you can observe them. Between the ages of 1 until about the age of 6, they are berserk. They are running, doing nothing but running and playing. There's no demands. There's no, you have to do this, you have to do that. And then, wildly enough, they hit 8 years old, 9 years old, and they are the most polite, structured children you would ever want to meet.
And you know,
wait a second. We begin pounding on them from the time that they exit the womb until they are out of the house that they have to be and act a certain way. There's no way the intuitive sense is going to be functional at best with the majority of these people.
But, Stephen, I don't know about you, but me personally, when I was 7, I could go out in the backyard and I could fight Indians or play Star Wars. I could be in another world. It was so fun just running around in little circles in the yard with a stick in your hand. You were Luke Skywalker. You were, doing whatever you wanted to do. And then we get to that point about 8, and then all of a sudden now you need external stimulus and entertainment. You need board games. You need video games. You need television, you need drugs, you need something other than your own self to entertain you. I think those kids that are 7 years old running in circles playing that way, I think they're smarter than the people that are teaching the school systems today.
Oh, I hear you. There's no question. Because you're allowed to experience yourself as a child, and that's the whole point. And speaking of that, when you're little like that, and if you have a spiritually oriented parent or parents, they're going to assist that intuitive level of yourself. But for those of you that didn't have that opportunity as a child, the good news is we are all born with the intuitive sense. And here's the other thing. It's still there. All you have to do, if there's a have to, is learn to recognize it for what it is. And you cannot do that as long as you